Hello. May is the month when things get busy for gardeners in the UK and people in places with a similar climate. If you're growing food, whether in a garden or allotment, this is the time when most plants can be planted outside. A few things such as garlic and broad beans may already be planted, but May is the month when many things go out, and the plants that can't go out just yet need to be hardened off. It's a time to juggle seedlings in the greenhouse and getting the ground ready for plants. Well, the greenhouse is packed, as you can see. At the moment I'm doing a dance every morning of coming in, taking the stuff that's on the floor and putting it outside and then bringing it back in the afternoon before I go home. So it's a bit of a pain, but until I'm certain that there's not going to be any more frosts, I'll have to keep doing this. And I've got this bed that's just had the clippings on it, so just put everything on top of this for the moment and then put it back at night. Okay, they're in. I mean, the squashes are doing okay. The pumpkins are obviously doing okay because they're flowering. The mange too and the beetroot are okay. That tomato is okay. There's more in the greenhouse, but this one is going to be outside, so it just needs to be hardened off a bit. I mean, the ones in the centre are staying obviously because they're tied in, but now I can get down the paths and squeeze through and check on the other plants and get them going. And in the next few days I'll get these sage and thyme potted up, and this lot and that lot are going to the plant sale, so then I'll have more room to pot up. I mean, these tomatoes need potting up and these aubergines need potting up. I just don't have the room for anything else in here, so they're just having to wait. But as soon as the thyme and sage have gone, I can get these potted up. And the same goes for these poor sunflowers. They've been sitting in this for too long, but I can't put them up because I've not got the covered space and it's too early to put them out yet. They may be a bit pot bound by now, but we'll see. And in the afternoon the process is reversed. And everything is tucked back into the greenhouse, safe and sound. This container has got holes quite high up from the base, so it can store quite a bit of water. So it's perfect for plants that like to have the moist ground, things like mint, celery. So I'm going to use it for mint. What I've done is not proper juggle, but all the sort of weed stalks that have been stewing over the winter, I put some of them in here from the weeds that had been in the barrels, so all the goodness has gone out of them, and they're not going to come back to life, so there's no danger of getting weeds from this. But obviously there's weeds flying about all over this place, so we will get weeds, but not from this stuff. So it will act just as a bit of something to hold a bit more moisture. Then I can fill the tub with soil. Now that it had a little accident. Before Alistair gave me this container, he lit a fire and this was a bit close, so that edge got a little bit frazzled, but the rest of it is in good nick, so be perfectly fine for growing in. Right, it's time to sort out this bean trellis, get it ready for this year's planting. It's going to be peas on that side of the path, well, what passes for a path, and then beans on this side, runner beans, French beans, and maybe some borlotti beans as well. So I've got to remove our last year's beans from these. Remove the canes and branches and clear out all these weeds first, and then put everything back together. So first take off all of last year's beans, put those into compost. These beans might be alright, but I mean, I'm not going to use these, but they might still be viable, so might be causing trouble putting these back in the compost pile, but we'll see. Might get volunteer beans appearing everywhere. Obviously it's tangled up and twisted round as beans do, so it's a bit of a job to get these undone. Of course, being branches, they've got little bits to get caught up on. I've just chucked all the old bean stalks onto the path. I mean, they'll just get trampled in. Next job, dig all these weeds out. Lovely. Fortunately, that's a job for tomorrow. What I've got to do this morning is sort out the ground, prepare it for the beans to go in. So I've got to take these branches down and dig up all these weeds. Then I can get the ground ready for the beans. And if you're wondering, this is old VHS videotape that obviously is no good anymore. Nobody watches their videotapes anymore, so they're used as ties. It saves buying twine. And I'm completely taking the branches off this section because the peas, I'm going to use some pea netting for these, so I won't need these here. Okay, so I've taken those down and just got to dig up this bit because there's the path. Once you take these weeds out, that would be the path that goes there. It sort of meanders a bit. This is the path that goes up between those beds, comes down here, meanders a bit, down here onto this path and up past the apple tree, between the apple tree and the fruit bushes. But I'll sort that path out later, but I'll get this cleared. This bean trellis had a little accident. I was clearing and I banged my head on this bit that was sticking out. So I went to push it up and that end just fell down, snapped that branch. So it's just hanging on by this little bit. So I'm going to take it off completely. It's not safe. So it's going. Right, that's tucked away over there. It actually looks quite good without that. So if the other side is the same, I'll take that off as well. I was reading around this bit, and this pole, they've actually, what they've done is put a plastic bucket in, concreted this post in, so this is not going anywhere. So I couldn't get rid of this beam trellis even if I wanted to. I've really concreted it in. I don't know what this bit is, no idea, because these bits are good and secure, but I don't know what this bit is doing here. It's firmly in, I can't even shift it, you know, it just will not budge, so just have to leave it. Well, I'm going to put the path here anyway, so this is just going to be part of the path, but just a bit of metal just sticking into the ground. Don't know what it's supposed to be doing. Now a bit of planting on the crops allotment, where I changed my mind and decided to use the blue container for celery, which also needs constant access to water. Right, the celery is in, and I've squeezed in some Swiss chard plants in as well. But if I leave it as it is, the pigeons will go through and pick these celery plants down to nothing. So I've got these metal netting pieces, rusty and old, but they're just the right size to fit on top of this and protect against the pigeons. So when they come in, you can't get in, and it's just the right size. Those two pieces put together, they're just the right size for this container. So all those people that say, "Oh, what are you going to do with that stuff? You're picking rubbish from the scrap pile again." There you go, a pigeon guard for the celery. It costs nothing. Reuse, repurpose and recycle. Well, I've repurposed it. Now as we're going into a heat wave, if I just left that in there in the sun, full sun, these plants over the next few days will go into transplant shock because of the heat. So this old butterfly netting, I mean, it's got holes in it, but you know, there's got a few holes in it, but it'll do for this job, and it'll give these the shade they need just to keep them cool till they settle in. Well, the beam bed is done, and I've cleared the weeds off. Obviously there will be the odd bit of root that's in there still, but I've got rid of all that I can. But I've got to sort out the edging on the borders, because some of it is falling apart, some of it is just real bits of wood that have seen better days, and you know, they're just like this. It's just like, you know, just rotting away, you know, a great big nasty piece of nail in it. So that can go in the pile, and this was part of it. This old edging type, it was all rotten, and most of it was, you know, it's just like falling apart, and as soon as I tried to pull the weeds out, it all came out, so that's got to go. And things like this asbestos that they were using for edging the bed, I mean, this bit broke off. I could hardly see it when I was doing it, but when I realised what it was, I was very careful with it. That's got to go, and this is all old. It needs replacing. I mean, all this stuff, it just crumbled as soon as I touched it. I've got to find some new edging for this. Fortunately, this top area where it was a brassica bed, obviously I'm going to have fruit trees here, so it doesn't really need edging, so I can't see it in the shade, but the edging that was around here I can take out and use it to surround the beam bed. As we haven't had any decent rainfall for weeks, the ground was actually bone dry, so what I've done is given everything a good water to soak it in, because there's no point putting plants into dry soil, they'll just die. So I've given this a good water, let it soak in, and then I'll water it again, and then I can put the beans in tomorrow. So I'm going to bring the beans out and harden them off. They don't need much now in this weather. I don't think we're going to get any really bad cold nights, so they just need to get a bit of wind on them, get a bit stronger, and then I can put them in tomorrow or the day after. But these beans have got really big, and they're looking a bit yellow because they've been in these pots for too long. Look at these, they're just like all bound together now. I did water these yesterday, but when I put them outside I'll water them again just a little bit. But I'm just a little bit worried about the wildlife nibbling on it, but I think this should be big enough to be pigeon proof now, so I'm not going to net them. Famous last words. Look at this one. It's absolutely it's really connected up, doesn't it? So I need both hands on this. They've actually wound around each other. I'll have to untangle those. Yeah, they're certainly ready to go. I mean, look at this one. It's up there. And that one is just keeps going. Yeah, they've been waiting in their pots too long. So hopefully they won't suffer any lasting damage. But let's put them outside. I'm going to put them in this bed with the clippings. That's already got the pots of squash and pumpkins in, and the peas, etc. Put them on here and I'll space them apart so they don't get tangled up again. The beans will tip over, but the advantage of having deep mulch is that I can shift it and put the bottom of the pots in the mulch, so they're partially buried, and now they're not going to get knocked over. Right, and here are the beans actually buried in this, which will stop them getting knocked over, and also the sun won't burn the roots, because obviously if they're exposed these black pots will get hot. We're like 23-24 degrees for the next couple of days, so having mulch around the pots will also help keep the roots cool, and they'll get a bit of wind on them and harden them off for a couple of days, then they can go in the ground. I'm also going to take these physalis out because they need hardening off as well. They really do need to go in the ground, they've been in too long as well. Right, the physalis are out, so they'll take a couple of days to harden off as well before I can put them in. Well, that's a taster of what I get up to in May in preparation for the year's allotment gardening and growing our own food. Goodbye for now, and come back soon.